Hello, my name is Leo Darcy and I'm one of the developers of the Power On Platform's Always On VPN Dynamic Profile Creation Tool, or DPC for short. In this video, I'll be taking you through the initial configuration of the user tunnel using the DPC agent and using group policy. To start, I have a 64-bit Windows 10 Enterprise device running 1909. However, any version later than 1803 should work. I've already installed the DPC agent and initial configuration following the steps described in the first video in this series. So to deploy the user tunnel, the first thing that we need to do is gather the relevant information for the Aovpn connection. What I've got here is the existing VPN tunnel, which you can see is currently working. And in it has all the information that we'll need to configure for DPC. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump over to group policy. And here we can see the top level of the Aovpn DPC configuration. We've already enabled the product key and we're going to log VPN connections, but we're now going to enable the Aovpn user tunnel. Next thing we need to do is go into the user tunnel settings, and we need to define some of these. So the first one that we need to define is the VPN endpoint. This is the URL that we're going to connect to. So in our case, it's under servers in the native profile, and it's going to be aovpn.poweronplatforms.com. The next thing that we need to do is define the trusted root certificates, and they are down in the EAP configuration. See here, we've got the trusted root CA. So I'm just going to copy that. And paste that in there. The next thing we need to do is the trusted issuing CAs. They are the ones that have the tag of issuer hash. So again, we're going to copy and paste that. And a common scenario is to have multiple issuer hashes. So in that case, we would just have multiple different lines in here. But in our case, we've only got the one, so we'll just leave it as a single one. We'll hit OK to that. We then need the Nps configuration, and that is under the server names in the server validation. So in our case, it is going to be that Nps server. Again, we can add multiple lines in here if we have multiple Nps servers. And finally, we need to give it a name that is displayed to the user. So in this case, we will do Aovpn user DPC. Now, while these are all these other ones are classed as optional, they are required depending on your required configuration. They're just not required to create the tunnel on the user device. So in our case, we want to define trusted network detection, which is configured here as poweron.local. So we can go ahead and add that. We also want to add a DNS suffix list, because that is already defined there. And then if we look further down, you can see we've got some basic routes configured. So we want to enable the allowed routes. And I'm just going to configure these ranges. So we've got 10/8 range. We've got the 172.1.6 range. And this value column here is a helpful comment so that you can keep track of the various ranges and what they're being used for. Finally, we've got 192.168.0/16, and we're just going to call this client ranges. You'll also notice here that we've got some explicit exclusion routes that mean that they must go externally. So we're going to add them into the excluded routes. The other thing that we'll need to do is, as we have a custom cryptography section, we need to go into the advanced sections and enable the custom cryptography. So custom cryptography is used as the default cryptography used in Aovpn is not considered particularly secure. So as a default, we typically update these fields. And in fact, the defaults here are the ones that we would typically deploy. You can see the encryption method. So we've got the different tag names in here. So it should be easy if you do have this cryptography suite section in your profile. So we'll just hit OK to that. What we then need to do is run a group policy update. To bring those configuration settings onto the device itself. So once the GP update has completed, the DPC agent will automatically pick up the configuration by default after 60 minutes. Alternatively, you can just run restart Dpc service, which will restart the agent, and that will pick up the configuration immediately. So as you can see here, we've got the new configuration deployed. If we disconnect the existing configuration and then connect the Aovpn user DPC configuration, you can see that that connects straight in. So in this video, we've gone through how to configure an initial user tunnel. In the next video, we'll go through configuring a device tunnel and some of the more advanced settings. If you have any further assistance, check support.poweronplatforms.com for additional help guides, or speak with your Power on Platforms account manager about our training and consultancy services. Thank you.